Bonjour mes amis, et bienvenue en Pendu dans le Cercle de Lune. Hello friends, if this is your first time here, welcome. Thank you for coming. I'm pleased to meet you. If you've been here before, thank you for returning. I'm truly honored. Friends, if you are a returning visitor, you know from my attempt at a French introduction that this is my series in which I use Cercle de Marseille adjacent, and antique Italian decks to help me explore a topic that I received from the earlier video I do for each week. I do 2 spreads a week. One of them is from either a Rider-Waite Smith, a Smith-Waite deck, Harris Crowley Thoth deck, or I've also done Continental Tarot. Yeah. And then I do a second video to help us explore the topic that came from that first video. And in this second video, I use Cercle de Marseille adjacent, or antique Italian decks. And this week, I have got a pretty cool deck. I've used this deck before. I'll show it to you in just a bit. But before we get into this week's spread, I'd like to recommend that you go back and watch that first video of this week if you have not done so already, because it will really help you to understand where this spread is coming from. Why am I reading the cards the way I'm reading these cards? Yeah? So, I'll put a card up here for you to click on and hop on over so that you can watch that video first and then come back to this one. Yeah? Now, you don't have to watch either of these videos in one sitting. You can split them up. You can watch 10 minutes here, 5 minutes there. It's all up to you. There's no YouTube police that's going to come out and force you to watch a video to the very end. But I recommend watching that one first so you get the platform from which this video is leaping. And just in case you did see that video already, you have seen it already, and you're feeling a little bit unsure about what it was you saw, let me remind you that the title of the video was, oh gosh, I haven't really settled on the title of it yet. So I've recorded the video, and I've yet to edit that video. I'll edit that video, and then I will edit this video. The title is either Remain Curious or retain curiosity, keep being curious, something to that effect. Yeah, remain curious, keep being curious, something like that. And it was all about, as we move into a new cycle, maintaining our curiosity. Maintain our curiosity. That might be the title. Maintain our no. Well, we'll get, you know it more than I do. So, that was the title. And it was about, again, maintaining our curiosity through this time, well, actually always, but through this time of moving into a new leg of our journey. And things developing, and our attention to those things developing, and not talking about those things developing, etc., etc., etc. So, that was a really wonderful, wonderful video. A wonderful spread, I should say. You decide whether it was a good video of that spread. But now I've got a video, a spread, we call them spreads, a spread all laid out for us. So what am I going to do? I'm going to show you the full spread. And then I'll talk about the spread very briefly, and then we'll break it into its 2 major chunks and read those 2 major chunks separately. Are you all ready? Here we go. You just saw 2 decks there, right? One deck on top and one deck on the bottom. The deck on the top is the Cercle de Marseille adjacent deck. Yeah, it's called the Talisman Tarot. And there will be a link in the description box below if you want to go get this deck yourself. It's a very interesting, like a finger painting rendition of the Cercle de Marseille. It's very, very Cercle de Marseille adjacent. And the colors are wonderful. Each card is monochromatic, But if you look at the range of the entire deck, it's wonderful. Yeah, there's a broad range, and we'll look at that range a little bit as we look at the 3 cards that we got for this week. And then the 3 cards below are from an oracle deck, which you've probably seen on this channel a few times. It's called the Poise Oracle. I don't have the guidebook, but there is a guidebook available, I've found out. And so there will be a link to the Etsy shop of the creator in the description box below. So you can order this oracle deck as well. It's a very I consider this to be a very intuitively read deck, especially since I don't have a guidebook. But it's a wonderful deck. It would pair with many, many different kinds of tarot decks if you were a pairer. And I have found it very nicely works with some modern versions of the Tarot de Marseille. So that's the way I've been using this oracle deck so far. It's a wonderful deck. Just saying. So, are you all ready? We're going to start looking at the cards. First, we'll look at the 3 Tarot de Marseille adjacent cards above, and then later we'll look at the 3 oracle cards. Here are the 3 tarot cards right now. Okay, so I misspoke. It's not monochromatic. However, you will notice that in this deck, the cups are colored in one color, the swords and wands are colored in a different color, the coins are colored in a different color, so you can get a sense of, and also the court cards and the major arcana. It's a really interestingly done deck. While it isn't monochromatic, the color palette is limited. But then again, most Tarot de Marseille decks are also use a limited color palette, right? So this is a great deck. I'm just saying. It allows for the feeling of reading through a haze, not in the sense of being, I don't know what I'm seeing, but being able to see what we want to see, being able to see into it. Yeah, seeing into the occult, you might say. And we saw, from left to right, we had the King of Swords, the King of Cups, the King of Swords, and then the 3 of Wands. So we had 3 kings and 1 minor arcana suit card, right? 3 different elements. Water, air, fire. The one we were missing is earth. One of them is bound to be missing, so it's not like this, oh my God, earth is absent, but it might be something to give our attention to. Why was the earth the absent one, right? Why wasn't wands the absent one? Well, clearly it's because we're reading from a previous spread, which had a lot of fire, had some major fire in it with the Ace of Wands, right? So the wands showing up here made perfect sense. But we as beings are not fire beings in this spread. We are water beings and air beings, and those are not ill-dignified elements. They work very nicely together. They don't support each other strongly, but they are they're comfortable with each other, right? So we start off with the King of Cups, and here this really is a very monochromatic card. It's all reds and then the background color. And we see the king holding the cup. Don't see a face on the king. We don't see a face on the King of Swords either. But it's a very, I would call it a stimulating, in the sense of it stimulates ideas and thoughts kind of drawing, right? And the King of Cups. Who is the King of Cups? This is the king who has wisdom from a deep inner and also outer knowledge, right? The king draws from their inner resources of understanding and knowledge, and also from the understanding and knowledge that they receive from experience in the outer world. So the king can draw on all aspects of knowledge. The King of Cups is compassionate, has control, and maintains balance, right? And the King of Cups is a big-hearted person, right? Opens, is generous, generously gives to people that he, she, or they love. And remember, all the kings are not male in Tarot de Marseille or any other tarot from my perspective, yeah? Whether we are in male bodies, we're in female bodies, we're in intersex bodies, we're in trans bodies, cis bodies, whatever. We all are kings, we're all queens, we're all knights, we're all pages. This is an aspect of self, and this aspect of self is generous, generously gives, and generously gives conscious love. Now, I consciously direct my love towards you. This king enjoys living, right? Because of that balanced emotions, there's a serenity of mastered emotions as well. Yeah, the king can sail smoothly over rough waters, through storms around him, her, or them. And the king is optimistic. And that optimism is not stupid optimism, it's the optimism of one who has overcome past injuries and looks ahead with hope and with anticipation of the bright future. This king is open to the new with prudence. This king isn't one to leap blindly into the unknown. The king moves forward with prudence, with optimism, with a generous heart, and pouring love into those around him, her, or them, with a balanced emotional state. And again, wisdom from both inner and outer experience. And this king, this aspect of self, joins with yet another aspect of self, which is the King of Swords. Which is what? The King of Swords, you see this wonderful king. There's the face and the head are not, the face and the neck are not separate for this king, right? We see into the interior of this king's body, you might say. There's a bit of an invisibility to this king, even. And yet, this is the King of Swords. This is the king who has head over heart, is disciplined, and is the paramount of truth. So, that doesn't mean that this king conquers this king by any means, right? Both of these kings are looking in the same direction. They're not facing off. One doesn't conquer the other. These are two aspects of self that we want to engage in the current project of life, you might say. Yeah, so we express our love, we express our wisdom, which we've garnered from our internal lives and our external lives. We love living. We're optimistic. And we're also what? We're also clear thinkers. We don't let our hearts mess with our heads. We keep ourselves rational as well, disciplined and truthful. We're skillful at handling words. We communicate well. Now, in addition to our generous pouring out of love, we communicate well. And this king is able to leap into the unknown. So we've got the prudent aspect, we've got our prudent side and are willing to take risks and leap into the unknown side. And both of these together join to create a very powerful being. This king can go beyond thought and leap into the unknown, like I said. And yet, the king also supervises thought and puts the thoughts that he, she, or they have into action. So we've got that active aspect of mind being active, but also going beyond mind and leaping into the unknown. We have the ability to take risks. And our prudent side with the King of Cups. Now we're thinking rationally, we're cool-headed, but we're also emotionally balanced. And both of those in concert create, again, a very powerful being. And what is that powerful being doing? That powerful being, combined, King of Cups and King of Swords, is looking in the direction of the Three of Wands. I love this rendition of the Three of Wands. I love the colors. I love the energy that is expressed here. Because the Three of Wands is acting impulsively. And that doesn't mean acting stupidly. It means when we have an impulse, we act upon it. But as we are the beings of head, discipline, truth, emotional balance, we're not doing it like, oh, I gotta do something. Right? It's, what is this? Okay, let's do it. Right? We act on the impulses, but we're not acting mindlessly. We live spontaneously. We release ourselves. We have freedom here. Both of these kings are pointing in the direction of freedom and acting on impulses and living spontaneously. There's a burst of vital energy, and that energy gushes forth. And that energy was indicated by the Ace of Wands in the previous spread. We have spontaneous creative vigor, but we might lack a goal, and that was also indicated in this week's previous spread. So, until we find a goal for that spontaneous burst of energy, we want to nurture it, nourish it, and be curious, where is this going to go? Where is this leading us? Where is that impulse going, directing us? Because we have an exuberance to get started, and we want to maintain that exuberance without acting without thought, right? Because we are the kings. We're still the kings of heart, and we're the kings of head. And in this spread, it's very interesting. Air and water together. Water, the King of Cups. Air, the King of Swords, combine to create a burst of fire. And maybe that's the direction, is that the missing coins card, the earth. So we want to be curious, where is the earth in this for us? Where's the earth that will sustain the fire? That's something for us to find out. And maybe the three cards below, the oracle cards, will help us find that, or maybe at least give us a way to find it. Do you understand the difference between those two? It will point towards it maybe, or at least point towards a way of finding it, right? So here are those three cards right now. The three cards you just saw from left to right were the Womb card, which we had last week, if you recall, last week. The last time we used this deck, I think it might have been the week before last. The last time we used this deck, we had maybe 2 weeks before, the Womb card came out. Now then it was Womb, something about growth and something about triggers. So anyways, the Womb card is returned. It's a lovely card. You see this fully formed figure there in the protective womb. The next card is sovereignty and intuition. So we start with the womb. What does the womb mean for me? It means to germinate things, right? The seed starts to sprout inside of the protective sphere of the womb. Or the embryo begins to develop within the womb until when it will eventually become ready to be birthed into the world. But there's a protective space for the growth to happen. But the growth does happen. But it happens by being nurtured, right? And nourished. by the mother in the womb. The womb is the nurturing and nourishing space. It's the preparation space for the growth and the preparation space for birth. And for germination. And all of those things were indicated, I think, in the previous spread of this week. Now in order, in getting ready, with having patience, that's all very womb-like significance. So we're in this space of the womb where we're nurturing and nourishing our 3 wands for this spread, or the Ace of Wands from the previous spread. And how do we do that? In our wombs we have this, we have sovereignty. Now, we are the king of our garden here. Yeah, we have, or the queen of our garden, or the sovereign of our garden. And remember the 2 kings we had above, right? So we have that idea of sovereignty. Here in the womb, we are the kings of our nurturing, nourishing space. And here, we own our power. We're not weak, we're not feeble in our womb. We own our power here as we nurture and nourish ourselves. We take responsibility. Now, the sovereign is responsible. We take responsibility for our self-development and the development of our 3 wands. We have authority. Now, we're in charge. We are mothering ourselves. We are mothering our the next leg of our journey right now. And we're the ones who are making the rules, and we're the ones who create our own domain. We create our garden. We create our kingdom. We make the rules for that kingdom. We're in charge. We're responsible for that kingdom. And right now that kingdom is a womb, which is wonderful. And yet we are in charge of all of that and the process that is going on. And the next card is, in that space, intuition. And this is a very confusing card for me. I just got to say. Now, we have this figure which looks like it has 2 faces, sitting in what looks like a lotus posture, with their arms in the as above, so below, directing energy from spirit into matter. There's this plant in a vase that is growing behind. This is a bit of a stretch for me to get in alignment with intuition. Because for me, intuition comes from within, and yet this figure seems to be looking up into the heavens and directing the energy of the heavens here into the earth. So it's like, I don't know. So for me, I'm going to go with the lotus posture for intuition, right? What is intuition? And maybe this is the problem. For some people, intuition is, we call it intuitive hits, yeah? Spirit talks into our ears, that's intuition. I don't believe that is the best use of the word intuition. For me, intuition is, as in the Jungian framework or structure of mind, intuition is a thought process. It's a holistic thought process. It's not the rational thought process of the conscious mind, where we look at things and we break them apart and we analyze them and we try to figure them out and we try bringing them together. The intuitive mind is one who looks and sees patterns, who looks at a map and knows, I want to go from, for example, I want to go from San Francisco to Seattle. And instead of looking at, well, I can turn here and I can go here, the intuitive mind sees the road as one thing. The road reveals itself to the mind because the intuitive mind sees the pattern that is there. It's a holistic thought process. Rather than a dissecting and analytical thought process, it's a holistic that brings all the information that is available together and reveals knowledge. So that's looking within to all the bits and pieces that are there form the picture of an answer, right? It's seeing deep within and beyond the rational. Yeah, we look within the rational and beyond the rational, and that is how intuition is revealed. It's immediate. It's not a process of breaking things apart. It's an immediate understanding. And it's receptive. It's a receptive understanding. Right? It's not breaking things apart and putting things together. It's a, oh yes, this is it. Understanding. Yeah? It's the water. Mind of air dives into the water, and that air and water together bring forth an intuitive understanding, which is also water to me. So in this, here, what do I see? I see the water of the womb, plus the air, the mind. Now I suppose this could be wands of sovereignty, wands rulership. So, okay, so what I see here is water plus fire gives us air. Yeah, but a different kind of air, right? It's a watery air of intuition. And that intuitive thought process reminds us from the previous spread of this week of maintaining curiosity. Keeping curious. Actively engaging our curiosity, always, as part of living an intentional life. And that is a very strong element that's running through, I think, both of these spreads. Do you see that? Because we haven't settled on what we're going to do next. And so maintaining our curiosity is vital. I hope that makes sense. If it does, let me know in the comments below. If it does not, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. And friends, I'd also like to thank you. Thank you for hitting the thumbs up button and for subscribing to the channel. You are a boon to other people who are looking for this kind of content. You help them. So thank you for doing that. And if you want a reading from me, my email address is below, thehangedmaninthemoon@gmail.com. Shoot me an email or let me know in the comments below. I want a reading. We'll get you a reading with either a Smith-Waite deck, a Tarot de Marseille deck. Many possible options are available. Okay? Okay, friends. Here we are. And now, as always, I wish you love, joy, well-being, and pure awareness. Thank you.